Hello, my name is Brandon Cavanaugh, and this is my TED Talk over leadership for the culmination of Interpretive Leadership for the fall of 2013. As we've looked at leaders, there must be a distinguished idea of what that is and what a boss is, because they are not the same. A boss has power, a power that can be used to give orders, directions that must be followed, but they are not a leader. A leader may not be someone in a management position or some preconceived idea of what that would be, or leading an organization. A leader is someone of influence, and that leader can be anywhere in an organization. But I want to focus on the leaders of organizations and of movements. And I believe, as we've looked at leaders in social justice, environmental leadership, business, agriculture, really any movement or organization that has a direction has a leader, typically. And I believe that each one of those great leaders have one thing in common. They elevate the performance of others. There are various leadership styles and tactics. There are leaders that micromanage everything, like the late and great Steve Jobs, who poured himself and his opinions into everything, from design to software to hardware to how the user saw it. And he brought Apple out from the ashes, just like this overly cheesy picture from the internet, which there will be plenty of in this presentation. But he poured into every last detail of his organization and his products. But then there are those who delegate, and sometimes it's instituted systematically, like that, like the head of a university. You have the president, and then you have a vice president or vice chancellor of institutional advancement, of academic affairs, etc., etc. That way it frees up the leader, the president, to do what he does best. And all great leaders start by being the example. They model the way. Mark Twain said, "Few things are harder to put up with than that of the annoyance of a good example." And how true is this? That while you have a mission, like every great organization or movement does, that if you model the way that you are that example, then no one can ever dig you for not believing or walking that walk. Every great leader in organization develops a mission. For Steve Jobs, it was to think differently. And there are countless others, like Tom's, this social entrepreneurship, that you buy a pair of their shoes and that they will give another pair to those in need. And that every great organization leader will craft a mission that will outlast themselves, that it becomes bigger than them and what they are doing. And when leaders are the example of what they are trying to promote, it starts with how they treat others. They treat them with respect, they value their opinions, and they get down at their level. And they also show us the ways goals should be pursued, with a plan, and with input, and with decisiveness. And leaders will be fundamentally shown as who they are when complex change was introduced, because it's difficult and it's often overwhelming. And that person will either learn to fight or the fight or flight instinct. They'll either soar away or they'll stay and they'll fight it out. I think that's how that goes. It's much more fluid. And someone that has exemplified modeling the way and being the example is the CEO of Japan Airlines. When the economy tanked and so did business and painful cuts had to be made, he took cuts right along with everyone else, starting with his pay. He went on after his cut to make less than his pilots. The CEO of this company was no longer the highest paid individual in the organization. He believed that he had to share the pain of everyone else around him. He started taking the bus to work and standing in the line in the cafeteria like everyone else, showing that he really was in this just like everyone else, and that he believed in his process and that he was not above it. And great leaders unravel bureaucracy when it impedes action. At the park level of what we're doing, we're in a more and more of a digital age. Visitors are digital. They want to capture an experience. They want to enhance, and to get a more clear picture. Many parks are coming out with apps now, but the park can't provide Wi-Fi to download it. And this is where they're, sidestepping bureaucracy and working with partners and foundations with them to set up that Wi-Fi, to create that opportunity to give a user a greater visitor experience. Great leaders that elevate others inspire a shared vision, as coined by Posner and Kouzes. They inspire shared vision by including others, by gaining their input, by setting up a plan and including the input of others at all levels of an organization, learning how, at each level, how something could be streamlined. And they create a big picture with manageable small tasks. One, in recent years, not by an organization, but by much of the world, is to combat climate change. And with something that big and that long term as saving the environment, saving the world's climate, one of its biggest roadblocks is that many businesses run on quarterly profits and not a long-term goal. And some businesses are getting creative and stepping up and stepping in to fight this and using those quarterly profits to their advantage. A new one is Elio. It's a new car manufacturer aimed at people that are looking to buy used cars. And they're putting out a brand new vehicle for $6,800 that gets 84 miles a gallon and is increasing fuel efficiency and reducing a carbon footprint. When you can inspire a shared vision, people buy in to what you're trying to do, and they give a piece of themselves. You're building teams and communities for a common purpose. And after a shared vision has been bought into, these great leaders, in effort to elevate those around them, they enable others to act. One of my favorite enabling, in a positive way, stories is that of Lord of the Rings. Gandalf and the Fellowship enabled Frodo to save Middle-earth. We have now since learned that Gandalf has magic eagles that can fly over and just drop it in. But no, he was given the opportunity to act and to save the world. That action was delegated. And an important action of delegated and having everyone bought in is collaboration, the forming of the fellowship, that each of the peoples of Middle-earth were brought together to work together because they are all in it together. And when you enable others to act, you have to equip them. You have to give them the resources. For Frodo, it was a sword. It was a blade. It was a team of people of various skill sets, just like it will be in any other organization. And after you've enabled others to act, to bring their talents to the table, you recognize this businessman just won something very, very important. Great leaders, when it comes to recognition, understand that there is a good recognition and a bad recognition. And they, like Batman, will take all of the blame when it's needed and deflect all of the praise to others. And these great leaders is not just always with an award and recognition, but also recognizing that people are more than assets on an organizational chart, that they are people, that you get to know them on a one-on-one basis, to know their life, their family, their story, their journey, to know that they are cared for as a person, not simply as an employee or a volunteer to a cause. And through this, great leaders will discover that each of them have a unique value and a special gift and skill set that is valuable in a different area of an organization. That a great leader is not better than someone else, but they are all simply just different parts of a body working together for a common cause. Thank you.